Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia and welcome back to the Overwatch League Roundup 2020 Team of Week 15. So we have seen the last week of regular gameplay before the May Melee tournament, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that tournament pans out. Obviously it won't have hero pools, so that's going to be very interesting. It's going to be interesting whether we see a meta develop or not. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Team of the Week, some of the best players from the teams we have seen this week in action. And there's been some very interesting results, hasn't there? We've seen Seoul collapsing to Chengdu. We have seen Shock dominating Atlanta. We've seen London collapsing as well. So there's been some very interesting players, some very interesting displays going on. But without further ado, let's get into this. We will, as ever, start off with our supports, and the first support I am including in here is FD God of the Paris Eternal. So, the Paris Eternal played the Dallas Fuel this week and got a comprehensive 3-0 victory, and they looked very good for it. I thought Dallas Fuel were going to put up more of a fight than that, but Paris Eternal absolutely dominated them, and a lot of that was thanks to FD God. We saw FD God on actually quite a few heroes in that support role this week. We saw him pop off on the Lucio. He got some crazy boops on Lijiang Tower. We saw him on the Mercy, where he pocketed Nico on the Echo, and he did very well there. And actually, I thought his Mercy was pretty good. And we've also seen him on the Brigitte, manning the backline, or womaning the backline, I should say. So, FD God has actually shown us a lot of different looks this week, and he's looked good at every turn. And I'm very impressed with it. I think his Mercy pick to pocket Echo, pocket Nico on the Echo, actually got really good value, and I think it was a really good move by the Paris Eternal, because a lot of teams aren't actually running the Mercy with the Echo at the moment. They are of the opinion that Echo gets a lot of value on her own, and she does. So they would much rather have that support on a Lucio or a Brig to protect the backline or to make plays. So FD God, I was impressed with him this week. And we know how good his Lucio is. We know how good that is, but it's nice to see him doing well on the other heroes as well. And, well, as much as you can say, Brigitte is fairly easy to play, but she isn't at times, let's be honest. Let's not be too harsh on these poor support players, and what used to be DPS players as well. So, moving on to the next support, and we go over to the San Francisco Shock, for a double header with the San Francisco Shock, actually. So, this is Violet. I was impressed with Violet this week because he got a lot done. He got a lot of stuff done. We saw him on the Batiste, we saw him on the Zen. He was fragging at times. He was really fragging at times, and he was the backbone alongside Moth, but I think more Violet actually than Moth. He was the backbone to this San Francisco Shock to just completely roll that Atlanta side. And to be quite honest, I just didn't expect it. I did not expect the San Francisco Shock to roll that so comprehensively. And I think that's testament to, yeah, we know how good the DPS are for the San Francisco Shock, but they can't do anything without a really good backline and a really good tank line. And a tank line very often can't do much without a backline. And in my opinion, all really good teams are based on a really good support line. And I don't think there's much better than the San Francisco Shock, if any. So, Violet, really good this week. He's always good, but he was really good this week. And he will get it, not the first time, and it probably won't be the last. But talking of not being the first time and not being the last time, the next up, I told you it was a double header, off-tank Choi Hyobin. So, Choi Hyobin, he was the standout off-tank for me this week. And it's, I don't want to sound harsh, but not a lot of people really stood out to me this week. A lot of the off-tanks were average in my opinion. They had good displays, they were good for their team, but no one really stood out. But Choi Hyobin, he stands out. He's fragging. His Sigma is godlike. It's crazy how good Choi Hyobin is. And he has still got to be considered the best off-tank in the league. I don't really... I mean, we have seen the emergence of people like Void at the moment for the Shanghai Dragons. Obviously, there's still Hotba for the NYXL. And there's Poco and Fury at the Philadelphia Fusion. But I don't think anyone can touch Choi Hyobin. He's so good. So good. And once again, this is a week where he demonstrates that to incredible effect. And let's be honest, it was a complete and utter mismatch between Choi Hyobin and I believe it was Hawk. So yeah, Choi Kyobin absolutely gets my off tank for this week. But moving on, we have our main tank. Now, I do have my first honourable mention here as well. Also, in terms of honourable mentions, I do want to say the Chengdu supports Yveltal and more Yveltal than Molly, but Yveltal because I think actually he had a fairly decent week, but not as good as FD God or Violet. But for the main tank, I'm going to give an honourable mention to Fearless here. And Fearless, obviously, we know how good he's got this season somehow. I don't know where it's come from, Fearless, but it is magnificent to watch. And I hope it continues on for a long time because Fearless is looking really darn good. But he went up against the Spitfire this week, obviously, for the Shanghai Dragons. And let's be honest, he made J-Mac look like a baby. The tank line of the London Spitfire got completely outplayed by Shanghai this week. Completely outplayed. It was embarrassing. And it's going to be interesting to see if London can step up. But Fearless really outshone the entirety of the London Spitfire DPS. So very impressive from Fearless. But I'm not going to give it to him because I was even more impressed with Dreamer of the LA Valiant this week. So, the LA Valiant did decide to run a lot of dive, they run a lot of ball, a lot of Winston, we did see a bit of Reinhardt, and at every turn, Dreamer looked like he was really getting tons of value. He played really well against the Toronto Defiant, and I think him playing really well, I mean, we know how well KSP plays, etc., but him playing really well made the difference, because remember, that was a 3-2 victory for the Valiant. It was close. It was close, and Toronto could have taken it, but Dreamer, I think, made all the difference for Valiant, especially early on in the match. So he's got to go in my team of the week, just for the fact that he was the difference maker in my opinion for the Valiant this week, and he was popping off. I'm not gonna lie, Dreamer. We've seen good glimpses from Dreamer this week, but I think we've seen one of his best matches yet against the Toronto Defiant. So he gets my main tank spot. But we have done the tanks, so now we are on to the DPS, and this is where things always get controversial and get heated. So, we are going to start off with our Projectile DPS, the person who usually plays the Echo. But it's not always the case, but it's very often the case. So, I've actually got two people I want to mention here. First of all, Yaki. Now, the reason I really liked Yaki's play this week is, especially on the Echo, when he's playing Echo, he's not just straight go forward, get right in their face, get a shatter if you're Ryan, or get a primal rage. But a few things I saw Yaki do. Yes, he had that fantastic 3 shatter echo ult. Yeah, whatever, we know that. But like on Junkertown, there was an incoming Diva bomb. He copied Winston. He was copying Winston, and he bubbled the bomb. Like, that's tank sort of play, right? That's the sort of things tanks would do. A Winston player would do that. But Yaki had the foresight to do that himself. And I think that was really good. I think that was really good awareness from Yaki. And it was very good. It was big brain, if you saw what I mean. It wasn't just that singular, I'm concentrating on going forward, I'm going to get kills, I'm going to disrupt the enemy team. It was, well, actually, I could possibly save a few of my teammates here. So I thought that was really good. But I'm not actually going to give it to Yaki. I am going to give it to Rascal. Yes, you've been calling for it for a while. It's time for Rascal to be on this list. He is just ridiculous. Right now, he is making a serious claim for best DPS in the league. He's making a serious claim for the best player in the league. Simply because, yes, his Echo play is absolutely bonkers. He is probably the best Echo in the league. But he's bonkers on other heroes as well. He's got such a varied hero pool. He's good on the Torbjorn. He's good on the Mei. He's good on really varied, interesting picks. And it makes the San Francisco Shock so much deeper in terms of hero pool. Rascal can play so much to such a high level. It is absolutely bonkers. Any team in the league would give so much to just have a player that is that flexible and that good on so many different heroes. It is bonkers. But to concentrate on his Echo play alone, his Echo play can carry. It can absolutely carry. It is bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. And some of the stuff I saw in that Atlanta game was just filthy. Let's be honest. Rascal is absolutely bananas on any hero he plays, but the Echo has just taken him to this whole other level, and it's just crazy. And it was only Rascal that could beat out Yaki for me this week. And it's unfortunate for Yaki, but I just have to give it to Rascal. I was going to give it to Yaki, but I have to give it to Rascal. He's just too good. But Rascal, you're going to be that good all the time, and you're not going to get it all the time. You can't just set up shop in the DPS slot in Team of the Week and not leave. It's not going. It's just not good. It's not good, Rascal, mate. We're just gonna have to have words about it. It's just not good. Anyway, moving on. Hitscan sort of thing, and Hitscan sort of thing. That's exactly where we want to go with this, isn't it? But with this role, actually, there's an incredible amount of talent this week that could have been in this slot. There are a lot of names here, so BQB for the Florida Mayhem was really good against Washington. Leave for the Chengdu Hunters. Although he did play a lot of Echo, and that's kind of why he doesn't get this, he did have a really good McCree, and he was really good. ANS, or Ansan Sniper, for the San Francisco Shock. Obviously, fantastic play this weekend as well. KSP for the Valiant, also really, really good. And I can't leave him out. Jerry for the Boston Uprising. Yeah, I haven't forgotten you, Boston. You won this week. I know you did. But, you know, there are some better players, unfortunately, that get on this list. But Jerry, we're not forgetting you. Jerry, you deserve a mention, at least. But this week for this slot, I'm going to go for Godsby. So, Godsby, really, for the Hangzhou Spark, played a lot of Sombra and a lot of McCree. And I can't remember whether it was a dash of Soldier 76 at some point. I may be wrong. But he also played the Ash, I believe. So, I was really impressed with him this weekend. And yes, they didn't get the result. They didn't get the best result against New York, but I think it's better than it could have been. Remember, they lost 3-1. And I think a lot of people would have expected them to get swept, but they actually really did hold their own against that New York team, which is really good. But Godsby this weekend has really been really good, and especially against the London Spitfire. Like on the first map on Ilios, he on the Sombra just shut Jihan down. Jihan's debut in the league was absolutely torrid thanks to Godsby. Absolutely torrid. And he basically took Jihan on the Hammond out of the game. So that was really impressive. But then he switches over to the McCree and the Ash on the other maps. And he is great. He's fantastic. And for a long time, we've kind of been asking, well, who's the pop-off for Hangzhou Spark? Adora, he's consistent, but he's not flashy. Godsby's consistent, but not flashy. They've lost Bazzi now. But this almost seemed like a week where Godsby was like, hey, I can do real good stuff here. And perhaps it was with in mind Architect, who Hangzhou Spark have now signed. Now, he's obviously a crazy hitscan player. Architect is one of the most flexible players you'll find. So it'll be interesting to see if that was Godsby's kind of swan song, being a starter for the Hangzhou Spark, or whether they all find a way around it. But Godsby certainly laid down the law for the Hangzhou Spark this week, and I was really impressed with his play. His McCree was lethal, his Ash was lethal, and his Sombra was just downright annoying to a lot of people. But it's what Sombra is. He played it exactly right. And you've got to acknowledge that. But that is my team of the week for week 15. FD God, Violet, Chiyohyoban, Dreamer, Rascal, and Godsby, with a bunch of honourable mentions to Yaki, BQB, Leave, Jerry, ANS, KSP, Fearless, etc. But I am going to leave it here for this one. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you'd like to give a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then!